Hey, good afternoon. I'm out here by the big hay barn and I'm getting ready to take some panels up to the garden. These are going to be cattle panels. Um, we've used them for years. These are old, they're rusty, but they still work just fine. Um, they will be for staking up the tomato plants, and then also I've got some pole beans that will need some support. And I don't know if this is going to work, but I have an empty, it's basically a gate frame, and I'm going to use it as a skid to put these panels on to drag them up to the house, up to the garden. My hope is that this pipe gate frame will help keep the panels from snagging on the driveway, any rocks or unevenness in the ground on the way up to the garden. So I'm going to set you up to where you can see what I'm doing, get these loaded, and then I'll put a chain on it so that I can drag it up the hill. I'm going to chain this up and take one load up the hill just to see if this even works. If I put too many on here, who knows. Worst case, I have to load them onto the trailer to take them up to the garden, but we'll see if this even works. That should work. Well, it worked. I got those first 4 cattle panels up here. It's kind of funny. We actually snagged a rock or two in the yard, but that's okay. They got to get pulled out anyway. So we have, let's see, we have the 4 panels plus we've got a hog panel now. So that's perfectly fine. I need 10 panels up here. So I've got to go back and get some more. You all might get to see me get hurt with this project. Well, that's all the panels that are hanging on the side of the barn. These panels that are left are, well, we grew up calling them dog panels, but they're actually horse panels. They're smaller squares. These are what I got off the barn. All the rest are up at the house. I do have to go down to the tack shed to get a few more, and then I should have plenty to get those trellises put up for the tomatoes. Well, it's the next afternoon. I ran out of time to finish up last night. Had to stop to do chores and put some feed away, but I was able to get the kids out here this afternoon, and Ethan and Lillian, my oldest two, they helped me get the cattle panels put up, and we just used zip ties to hold them up. We probably will move the panels around. It was quite a chore putting the T-posts in. Up here on this hill, we're kind of rocky, and then of course they did all the excavation and stuff. So what rocks were down deeper have been brought to the surface. That's part of the reason we're doing the surface raised beds, to just give us a rock-free surface to plant into. So anyway, I'm going to turn the camera around and show you what everything looks like. We do have some more weeding to do. Let's see. Clean up weeding on the corn and some of the bean rows, and then need to work through the row that's got the cucumbers and the lettuce and stuff in it. And then also the row that's got the carrots and the baby onions. That has to be gone through. Now that we have the panels up, we can plant the tomatoes and the tomatillos. I will use those, a trellis for those as well. And then the peppers will also be planted on the back side of one of the rows. I also watered the garden this afternoon. It's clouding over, so I was able to do it before it got too late. You can see this one dry row. This will be that row for the tomatoes, one of the tomato rows, and the peppers. It'll be a little bit tight, but the peppers I think will help shade the base of the tomatoes and keep the weeds down. The same thing up here. These will be tomatoes. And I might, if these little onions here at the end don't grow well, I might go ahead and put some more bush beans in here. You can see down here in the middle, these little green onions are growing quite well. They're doing really good. These down here, not so much. So I might just go ahead and get all the weeds pulled and get some more green beans put in. My kids aren't super fond of green beans, but I'm determined to convert them. This row is by far the weediest. Part of that is because I wasn't able to cultivate it. Of course, because it was lettuce, the whole bed got watered thoroughly compared to just watering the front half of that bed. But you can see that these panels, they're up off the ground so that I can cultivate underneath. I'll be able to put mulch down at the base of the tomato plants, and also have room to go ahead and plant those tomato plants. And then down here, this is where I'm going to put the tomatillos. The reason this is like this is so that the cucumbers have kind of a sloped trellis that I can train them up. I've had a trellis before for the cucumbers, but the problem is they climb, but they don't climb well compared to, say, pole beans. Thanks for hanging out with me in the garden, and come back another time. Like I said, I'm planning on getting those tomatoes and peppers in, and I'll also be building a little garden bed out in front of the porch, and I'll show you that project when I get to it.